Let me read these two notes I had on Josh Jacobs. A mover and shaker in traffic with the ball in his hands. He's like a soldier in a minefield. The mines are going off all around him with bodies falling and flopping, and he has the start and stop ability to avoid all the commotion and debris.
It's nice, man.
Yeah, man, just imagine that picture it. Don't let him see you cry, bro. That means you soft.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah, bro. Don't do it, bro.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm trying to help you out. It's up to you to listen. All right, guys, we are back. Couch Potato General Manager's YouTube channel. What's the website?
CouchPotatoGM.com.
We're back. We're here to talk NFL Draft Recap 2019, but we are talking the Oakland Raiders, who had the 4th pick overall, and the player they chose was number 7 on our board. I know people went crazy. If you was paying attention to Couch Potato General Manager, if you was paying attention to CPGM, you would have known they didn't reach.
Wasn't nothing to worry about.
Yeah, really wasn't.
Nothing to worry about.
Clelin Ferrell, man, a beast. Played along that Clemson defensive line with Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Austin Bryant. This guy, man, long limb, physical. Is he the best run stuff in defense? And him or Nick Bosa? 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
You know, he sets a good edge. He has a quick first step to get around the tackle. He's not the bendiest of guys, but what this guy brings is a physicality, leadership, high character, football IQ, man. He a lot of times he goes for that strip sack that I like, man. He's not only just trying to sack the quarterback, he's trying to create turnovers as well, man.
You know, watching his tape, the one thing that I came away when I was done is that he's not elite at any one thing. He's great at everything. And I'll take that. I love the pick.
I think the mock drafts kind of skewed everyone's expectations associated with the Raiders pick in terms of the top 5 pick. And again, you mentioned it, Drew. He's a 7th ranked player in the entire class, according to CPGM. And I liken his play style, his frame to DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence just signed a big 5-year, $100 million plus contract. I think he has that type of skill set. And I actually think he could be a better player than Lawrence. I think the fact that he played alongside Christian Wilkins, Austin Bryant, Dexter Lawrence, as you mentioned, Headley, detracted from what Clelin Ferrell brings to the table. Yeah. I think it really did. But when you talk about that combination of being able to play the run effectively as well as effective passer, the only guy you can really argue in terms of an edge guy in this entire class is Nick Bosa. Frankly, Ferrell has more production. Clelin Ferrell is not far away, and like I said, I think he plays a lot like Tank. He looks a lot like Tank in terms of his play. Again, when you talk about 4-3, traditional 4-3 edge, hand on the ground, there's only one other guy that's in the conversation with Clelin Ferrell in this class as far as I'm concerned.
Let me play a little devil's advocate here, man. At pick 4, man, do you think the Raiders should have possibly traded down? Do you think there's any other teams coveting Ferrell this high? Maybe they could gain additional draft picks. What do you say for that?
It depends on who was covering, who wanted to come up and get him, but we talk about this every year, and we mainly talk about it with the quarterback position. But if that's your guy, don't play no games.
Not to mention, you have to have a trade partner. From the entirety of leading up to the draft, the Jets were talking about trading out of 3. What happened? They did it.
Yeah.
Now, could it have been because Quinton Williams was there? Perhaps, but the likelihood is that they weren't getting the return that they were looking for. They weren't getting that other party that has to be willing to trade up to come up and get them. So I'm with you, Headley. I come from the Jimmy Johnson school of thought. I'm trading down, but the trade has to come to fruition. It has to be there. And with 3 picks in the first round, you don't need to add any additional picks. Not in my estimation. That's not a priority. That's not a priority.
They had a lot of picks.
So, hashtag Raider Nation, I'm excited for you in terms of Clelin Ferrell. If you're on the fence and you're listening to the talking heads and that was a shock and it was a bit of a reach, I'm not buying it. I think he's going to be terrific. In fact, it's well documented how much the Raiders struggled last year in terms of their pass rush. This guy goes a long way in terms of making you better up front.
And this is a situation where, he's going to make an immediate impact, right away. I know Arden Key came in and, it took him and Maurice Hurst a little bit to kind of, towards the end of the season, they got better. So now you take the end of the season with them getting better, going into a new season with a guy who's going to make an impact immediately.
And then you got to think about the championship pedigree,
Absolutely.
the leadership, what he's going to do for that locker room.
There's intangibles there as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so we have to drop all the way down to the 20s because they do have another first-round pick. Matter of fact, they got two more.
Mm-hmm.
The 24th pick, they went out and they got the best running back in the class. I think we have him mocked there.
Well, we have him as the best running back in the class.
No. Not for us. I'm just the general consensus out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was the best running back in Josh Jacobs from Alabama, and I love the fit. I love the fit, and it was a guy who they coveted. There's two guys that they actually coveted. This guy and the next guy coming up.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, physical, downhill, slashing running back. Not a lot of wear on the tires. I think only 250 career carries. So he got a lot of thread left. Yeah, this guy fits what Jon Gruden wants to do, man. You lost Marshawn Lynch, and you get another guy that could be a beast mode for you guys.
Yeah. 3-down back, 3-down skill set. Heather, you talked about it at length. His ability to track the football over the top. You know what I mean? That's not something all running backs possess. Most guys can catch a dump down pass. You could swing it out to them on a screen, whatever the case may be. But in terms of being able to get out in space and track that football, that's another level.
He gives versatility, run blocking, pass blocking, receiving, again, football,
intangibles, selflessness,
championship pedigree.
Absolutely. And you guys had Jacobs coming in at 11th overall in the CPGM top 50.
3 picks later in the first round, the 27th pick, they go out and get another guy, like I said earlier, that they coveted in a Johnathan Abram, safety, Mississippi State, turning on the tape, didn't know his number, and to be honest, I figured it out after the first play. That's him. Let me make sure I'm not watching the highlight tape after the 5th play, because he reminds me, his style of play reminds me of Derwin James, the way, that he was used in Los Angeles with the Chargers. But he's like a missile coming downhill, man. He
flies. I say flies with 3 S's to the football.
With a Z at the end.
Yeah, with the Z. Let's go with the Z, man. Yeah. He just gets there real quick. Physical demeanor. It's Jacobs, Ferrell, Abram. These guys are all the same in terms of mentality, alphas on the football field. The only issue I have with Abram is in coverage, but they have another safety in Lamarcus Joyner that just picked up. He could cover just fine for them. Sometimes their teams uses aggressiveness against him. He could blow some coverages, miss some tackles. That's why him and Joyner, I think, make a great combination. Them two together on the football field.
Each other really nicely. All right, so in the second round, 40th pick overall, they selected cornerback Trayvon Mullen, cornerback from Clemson.
This Mullen is one of my draft favorites. I saw him on tape, and I just love his physicality at the line of scrimmage. He plays zone, but also he'll get into a guy's face. He's not afraid of the smoke, man. He brings the smoke every single play. He can play outside, inside, versatile guy. I think him and Gary and Conley can make a good duo out there.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 4th round, the 106th pick, they chose defensive end Maxx Crosby out of Eastern Michigan. This is a guy, after watching the tape, this is a guy who played in a 3-4 as well as is in a 4-3, so he's scheme versatile at the defensive end position. He's a guy who's going to show the offensive lineman a bunch of different things, but I think, he's doing too much. Like I don't know if he's, if how you set a guy up, you do this move over here, you do this move over here, but it's to set up this move.
Sure.
I don't know if he's doing any of that. I don't know if he's just.
You don't think he has a plan?
I don't think he has a plan.
You got a bunch of stuff in his bag.
The plan is to just open the bag and just
dump it all out on the table.
Bull in the China?
Bull in the China shop. That's kind of how it is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. But it was just kind of all over the place, and I feel like that's a guy you could kind of rein in and say, you got these moves, you just need to have a plan as to why you're doing them. If you can't give me the why, then you need to not be doing them. So that's kind of where I came out on Crosby.
Yeah, I like the idea of going back to the edge rusher. The Raiders had a huge issue last season after trading Khalil Mack, couldn't get after the quarterback. So just having another guy out there that could potentially get after the quarterback is nice.
With their next 4th round pick, 129th overall, they chose Isaiah Johnson out of Houston, cornerback.
Yeah, I got him as a big cover 3, bail corner, has excellent ball skills. He's just better in zone, man. You don't really want him in man because of, the technique issues, footwork is not up to par yet. But long, tall, physical. These corners are in vogue right now. This is what NFL teams are looking for. I can see a scenario if Isaiah Johnson develops, have him on the outside with Conley and put Trayvon Mullen inside to the slot.
Good value in this particular pick, I thought, because when you talk about the measurables and his frame, finding those guys is becoming more and more important as he continues to skew towards points and passing and matching up against these receivers who are 6'4" and can fly. I think it's important to have some of those guys who can match up in terms of the size and deal with the physicality
and the ball skills. This guy Isaiah Johnson's a former wide receiver.
Absolutely. It's about taking advantage of those opportunities defensively, turning the football over. It's hard to get 3 and outs and to get stops with the penalties and again the rules favoring the offense. When you have an opportunity, can that guy make a play and get the ball back to your offense?
With their last 4th round pick, the 137th pick overall, they chose Foster Moreau, LSU tight end. Looking at the tape, you come from LSU, you playing tight end, what are you doing?
Blocking.
I think he's going to be more of an H-back, fullback. I think that's the expectation.
Yeah. I think they're still missing that explosive tight end after losing Jared Cook.
What tight end? The Raiders brought in Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams.
They drafted another receiver.
We're going to get to Renfrow in a second here. Then you got your boy.
But listen, somebody got to play tight end because that's usually a big piece.
I get it. I get it. But we don't know what Gruden's doing these days. We don't know quarterback Camp Gruden in the booth, for 8 years, whatever the case may be. I don't know. But I'm looking at the roster development. Jared Cook was allowed to walk. And they haven't necessarily gone out of their way to bring in one of those guys when they move tight ends. And they brought in a ton of receivers.
I'm wrong with it because I got the receivers. I like it. In the 5th round, we got CPGM Juice's guy with the 149th pick overall, Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver, Clemson.
I think Renfrow's going to play like 10 years in this league.
Wow.
I think he's going to make a living, moving the chains, catching big.
Is he going to end up in New England at some point?
I don't know about all that, but okay. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm willing to state that Renfrow, considering what he did at Clemson, which was just make play after play.
He's a walk-on, by the way.
It's third and Renfrow out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Senior Bowl. Just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's lining up across from him. He's never going to get the respect that he deserves, especially when you got Antonio Brown flanking you with Tyrell Williams, his ability to stretch the field. They're not going to, and he's just going to make plays. He's going to make big catches in big moments. And the Raiders, this is the 3rd player that they've selected from Clemson, so they have that winning pedigree. They're accustomed to playing in meaningful football games. I mean, last year we saw what this receiving core looked like, particularly after they let Amari Cooper go, and they've completely overhauled it.
Okay, so we just spoke about the tight end, right? You just made me think about something. And usually a tight end for an offense, for a quarterback, that's kind of the safety valve. The guy.
It's going to be Renfrow.
It's a big target guy you can throw it to.
Antonio Brown might have a problem with how many looks Renfrow gets, assuming he breaks. And it's because Antonio is a little out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about who should get the ball more, or whatever the case may be. But like I said, teams are going to game plan for Antonio Brown. That goes without question.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow is going to be open, assuming he's on the field, assuming he earns the coaching staff's trust. Yeah. He's going to show his numbers. Yeah. He's going to catch the football and make plays.
So I give you 2 receivers, similar guys. Mm-hmm. Cole Beasley, Ryan Switzer. Is he better than both those guys?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Beasley might have something to say about that.
Bees obviously is more accomplished. Yeah. He's more accomplished, and there was talk in Dallas that he was kind of being. Because they knew that they were moving on from him. They wanted to highlight the fact that they invested in the 1st round pick in Amari Cooper. The ball wasn't coming to him when he should. I think Beasley obviously has carved out a great role for himself. He's a quality football player. I think Renfrow has an opportunity to be better.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see the ceilings.
Renfrow, I'm definitely going with Renfrow.
Let me add another player, Adam Humphries.
Renfrow.
Bro, say it. It's in the same boat.
Bees.
All right, man. We got to put up something because I'll take Adam Humphries all day over all of them. Ooh. Beasley can get in the back of the bus, bro.
Give me Hunter Renfrow.
Okay. I like Hunter Renfrow though. That's my guy.
Yeah, man. Another guy on the national championship team, man.
Yeah.
Mayock and Gruden went national championship heavy.
And with the last pick, the 7th round pick, the 230th pick overall, they went out and they got Quinton Bell, defensive end at a Prairie View A&M. And listen, I don't know much about him. I just know he played for Prairie View A&M, and I saw the picture, bro. It was a tennis ball. He was like that. It was at that point, like we say in the 7th round, 6th, 7th round. What are you drafting? You're drafting, physical traits and
it's another edge guy, man. You can never have it.
They're trying to see what sticks. They're trying to see what sticks. They're gonna need obviously more out of Maurice Hurst.
Mm-hmm.
We expect him to take a step. Certainly Arden Key has a lot of talent. We'll see if he puts it together. But you round out the depth of your defensive line so that you have the waves of pass rushers. And they got to get home this year. But before we sign off on this video, I want to bring up the UDFA extraordinaire Keelan Doss.
Keelan Doss. That's another wide receiver.
UC Davis, yet another receiver.
So we talking Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams. We're talking your guy, Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
And a guy that I think is better in the slot than Hunter Renfrow is a Keelan Doss. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of talent in the wide receiver position, man. This guy...
He's better, but he may be better, but it's two different. I think it's two different types of slots.
Yeah,
they're different players.
Definitely type of slot. Big slot, little slot.
But you value Doss more so than Renfrow.
Yeah, I was watching the tape, man. He kind of give me Michael Thomas vibes. I heard some people compare him to Keenan Allen. In the Senior Bowl, he won every time he was on the field. He got open.
Renfrow dominated the Senior Bowl too.
They both played well in the Senior Bowl. Good hands catcher. Oh, there's a little debate. Renfrow versus Keelan.
No debate. Ain't no debate. I just want to make sure Renfrow get his due.
But Renfrow got drafted, so he'll probably get the first opportunity, the first crack at it over Keelan Doss.
I think Keelan Doss. I mean, it's a deep receiver room, but I wouldn't let Keelan Doss get off my roster. He's going to be on my 53.
I was surprised. Like the biggest surprise to me in the draft was Gardner Johnson falling to the 4th and Keelan Doss not getting drafted.
And there was never, you guys mentioned it, there was never that run on receivers, so that there was value throughout the balance of the draft as well as in terms of rookie free agents. So, yeah. Check out that Keelan Doss video. Check that out.
Yeah. Who had him higher?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We had to Harry Doss.
Yeah. We'll
First round pick versus UDFA.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
We're going to see who's better. Anyways, Raider Nation, let us know what you think, how you feel about your team. Mike Mayock, Jon Gruden, they work well in tandem to each other.
Mayock aced this draft, man.
Yeah, he really did, man. And let me
question marks. There were question marks going in, but they acquitted themselves well.
Well, let me go ahead and say, I thought Mike Mayock was just going to be a yes man to Jon Gruden. But Jon Gruden, he wanted a guy he could actually lean on and a guy who could say, we're good. Relax.
Someone he would be okay with telling him no.
Yes.
I think that it's important. It's important to have that dynamic. It's important.
Definitely. But let us know about the video. Let us know how you feel. I know Raider Nation, y'all boys deep into your team and you love your team, so let us know how you feel. Like, subscribe, comment, spread the word. Yo, why they went with this guy, man? He was like the 4th or 5th best defensive end, blah, 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 blah.